it's great to see everyone here today. And I want to thank everybody for joining me on this interactive panel on bettering technology and the minority workforce during the annual CBCF ALC conference. I hope that everybody is enjoying the conference. I hope that you are pacing yourself because we still have a couple of days to go before the banquet on Saturday. But I hope that you're meeting a lot of new people, networking, and getting to go to so many of the really good discussions and brain trusts that are happening here today. And I think that this one is very special and that you're going to like it if you have not done this before. I want to give a special shout out to Chevron, eBay, Verizon, LinkedIn, PwC, and coequal.org for joining me here today and helping us create the best policy hacks to better address technology workforce opportunities for minorities across our country. America really is leading in the tech industry. I can see that in the district that I represent in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have a large number of tech companies that are creating new jobs, creating new opportunities all across the Metroplex, where since the last census was taken in 2010, we've added about 1 million new residents in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's just how rapidly we're growing. And every year, this industry does a great job of not only boosting our economy, but helping us solve some of the world's most pressing problems that need answers. But the growing workforce leads our country in innovation that also faces a very crucial problem, and that's really a lack of diversity in the workforce, particularly in the tech workforce. And as a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee, and I actually serve on the subcommittee on communications and technology, we talk about these issues from time to time. We want to be at the forefront of creating policy solutions that will make sure that the tech industry can work hand in hand with us to be sure that we increase diversity. That's why today's interactive competition is aimed at hacking our way to policy solutions that will best address technology workforce opportunities for minorities. We've had several hearings on the Communications and Technology Subcommittee regarding how to increase diversity in the new tech economy. And now it's time to hear from constituents and all of you from across the country that's taken the time to come here. And I look forward to hearing your new and innovative ideas and cannot wait to see which team prevails. And also want to give a special shout out to Chris Turner and Dell Technologies that are here also for, again, just being a part of this. Chris, thank you so much. Yeah, really, really appreciate it. They do a great job of really bringing in a lot of the equipment and helping us to put all of this together. So, yeah, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, too.
Yeah. So with that, I'm going to have Nicole bring Chris up. Yeah. And Chris is going to introduce the panelists and get us started. Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon, y'all. Hey. My name is Chris Turner. I'm with Dell Technologies. I am the head of government and public affairs for the Americas region. So I cover basically Canada to Argentina and everything in between, handling public policy, public affairs, government affairs, etc. And this is something that we came up with, this idea of a policy hack, several years ago when a group of us were sitting in a room down at South by Southwest and said, hey, you know what? We are not the smartest people in this room. Everybody else is, and we stand up here lecturing everyone that knows more about what we're talking about than we do. So how can we harness the power of the people that show up to these events and direct them towards actually driving solutions as opposed to listening to us talk? So that's sort of where the policy hack was born. And we thank Congressman Vesey. This is the second time we brought this here to the Black Caucus ALC week, and it is, in my opinion, the most dynamic event that actually happens here because y'all are working on actual solutions that can then in turn be used to solve problems. The winning idea last year, the congressman actually worked to turn into legislation. I don't know of any other thing you're going to attend today where there's a direct translation between the sweat equity you put into on the table over the next hour and actual progress being made in Congress or across the country. This is unique in giving you that opportunity and that voice. With that, you've got some computers in front of you. We love everyone, so you've got some Dell computers, you got some Apple computers, you got some I don't know what. We love them all. And on those you will have a topic against which you will have an hour to come up with an innovative solution to the policy challenge that is in front of you relating to technology and the workforce. That solution should blend sort of private sector opportunities and public sector regulation into an idea that is, one, innovative and novel, so not sort of repeating what's already out there. That is, two, scalable, meaning that it's not just something that happens in a box, but it could be replicated at least across the United States. And three, is within the realm of possibility, right? So it's not something that requires a constitutional amendment change, for example, which is a very small probability of success. And then finally, it should have an actionable piece for the congressman, for the judges, for Dell to be able to get started on, right? So what can you do in the first 18 months with your idea to start the ball moving forward? And those are the criteria against which the panel of judges will be evaluating your idea and selecting a winner. I'll introduce them later, right before we start hacking, but all of the companies and brands and nonprofits that the congressman called out earlier, those are your judges. So those are the people from the private sector and from nonprofit America that are going to be evaluating your solution and choosing a winner. With that, you've got about an hour. I will be giving you shout outs as to when the countdown is coming. The presentation itself should be between no more than 6 minutes. And then the judges will be able to ask you a question, probably 3 questions given the time that we'll have, so not every judge will be able to ask a question, and then you'll have about a minute to respond to each judge's question. Any questions either on the overall approach that we're taking to this process or on the details as I just described them? Yes, please.
So you mentioned that there needs to be some type of an actionable element, and it needs to be something that would be able to be replicated nationwide. Just for the sake of helping us have a starting point,
yeah.
Is it okay if we use a specific state as a framework model within the policy that we create?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. If what your idea ends up being is a pilot that will exist in a particular community, and that's what gets you the 18 months to start, that's fine, so long as you're building it in a way where you can replicate it in other communities.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, today wouldn't be possible without my crew, my team that's got my back and is the brains behind all of this stuff. Can y'all raise your hands? Lourdes, Team SKD. If y'all have any questions, the folks that raise their hands and I will be around to sort of help answer any questions, guide you through any questions that pop up as you're hacking, give you time check, whatever else y'all need. All right, so I've got, on the official watch, I've got 1:44, so we will call it at, we'll add a minute, we'll call it at 2:45. Start hacking. Thanks.
cell phone. You don't use a microwave. You don't watch TV. You don't, shall I continue? So think about the technology and the GPS, right? Think about the data when you have to go look on you have some sort of like school website where you have to do courses or Google Sheets, whatever. That's all technology is, right? So you can think technology isn't just programming. It's anything interfacing, like I like how you said, it's human-centered. You want to interact with people. So there's actually a domain that's called human-centered. Human-centered technology. So yes, you do technology. What do you want that's better? If it's GPA, if it's an app, if it's TV, if it's access, if it's...
I would say, I think everybody's great. It helps you create websites because that's what I know, right? I know, right? She doesn't know how to do a website and coding and all that stuff. So if there was
It's something you can do from your phone, or like an older person who may not be computer savvy. Where you go? Where you get your friends?
Are y'all using Pinterest still? What apps are you guys using, right? So my daughter, I have 16 and 18-year-old daughters, and they play with all these different technologies. But they're doing the Pinterest stories now, where you can actually, is it Pinterest or is it the one with the pictures? What's the one with the pictures?
Pinterest.
Pinterest. Yeah, so they got these Pinterest stories. And she was saying if you could actually hit the picture and it tells a story, or it comes on live, that would be pretty interesting. Because she was like, they share the stories in between classes when everybody's kind of bumming around in high school. You guys do any of that type of technology, Divine, anything like that? Yeah, she said Instagram stories. That's what it is. Instagram stories.
Yeah, because on Pinterest you can like post pictures.
But they don't talk though, right?
Well, on Instagram, if you post something on a story, like a video, it will like show you the audio. Sometimes where it's taken, sometimes sometimes it'll be sponsored, so it'll be stories that you don't even like follow through accounts. So yeah.
And like the Instagram, she was saying they're Instagram novels now. Where they're in class, they have the little bits.
Yeah.
So when they get bored in class, she's like reading them. So
I wonder how you could integrate Instagram and learning.
I feel like for my generation that'd be a big distraction, and it also isn't as an excuse. They're like on their phones more when they have to learn. And so I don't mean to be cynical or anything.
Sometimes probably knows, right?
And it's kind of interesting. Like I hear a lot of younger people talk about technology fatigue. Or fatigue. Like they're getting tired of using technology. And technology is pulling them. And so there might be technology that helps them to get off of technology. There was.
What is it called? Like that?
Yeah, because there were some teenagers that I met on the metro, and they all changed their phones to black and white, so that they wouldn't spend as much time on it. Like they made a pact that they wouldn't spend as much time on their phone, and changing it to black and white was one way for them to do that.
My son's school just implemented a policy this fall. No cell phone use in school at all. And they thought it was going to be like a backlash to it because some classes use it for learning.
The moms are the problem. The moms text their kids all day, right?
Yes.
So I'm just saying, actually, I had this, because right now, like we're looking at in the college level, kids are coming in and they can use Canvas and they can learn from a non-hard textbook. Right. And the professors really are not able to actually teach to that. But in the high schools, they actually have technologies that'll block the phones from actually working on the network.
Yeah.
So the idea is that the technology can be used, but how do the young kids are smart enough to get around it? So by the time they get to college, they're smarter than the faculty. But there's a couple things Ivory mentioned. You can actually send IMs. We call it instant messaging. Remember back in the company, a long time ago before the internet, companies had their own internal internet, right? And they had instant messaging. You can actually send instant messaging through those school networks to remind them to, hey, if you're playing on your phone, please get off, or it's time for you to study. So there's actually a specific technology that's designed to interrupt their phone messages.
Well, they found that the students were communicating to one another more now.
It's emotionally connected.
But how did I guess that's a great idea. I just wanted out the parents. I always worry about the parents calling their kids
I
more
want
than
to back
anything.
up just a bit because I don't know who you all
What
are.
district is that? Look it up.
Yeah, so let's go.
Alright, so my name's Mariah Dankoff. We're all from Houston, Texas, and H County.
I went to Eisenhower. Aldrin, yeah.
We are part of an organization called World Youth Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization that helps kids like be innovative, to bring in guest speakers to help develop career paths and stuff like that. It's been happening for 29 years, and I've been part of it for 3. So we're here on behalf of, her name is Karen Franklin. She invited us to see to come here. That's what we're all about.
You're a junior, senior?
I'm a junior.
So Karen Franklin is over what organization?
Eighth grade,
wow. What's that?
World Youth Foundation.
World Teen Foundation?
World Youth
World Youth Foundation.
We're on there.
What grade are you?
So Karen is a small business owner. We can help to innovate.
So we're creating an app at the intersection of all three.
Right.
Right?
And so the program funded you all to come here?
To make a website.
Have you all been to Washington before?
I want to see the website.
I mean, we would give you a card, but like if we were
Well, no, send the electronic card. Send electronic contact.
So what do y'all, okay, so getting back to the policy things, right? So, okay, so if you, let's say you want to start this business, and what would you need to get started? You would need advertising support. How to advertise? What would you need? Training, space, know-how?
I think, yeah, training, because if you get like district appointed trainees or something, it wouldn't really work because they'd just kind of be going off of their own head of what they know about your business. But what my dad does is when he does hire people, or when he gets hired by other companies and has contracts and stuff, he teaches them what he knows thoroughly to a point where they could sort of do it themselves. And it has to be to the point where they know what they're doing and they know what they're complicating. So I feel like there needs to be a well-learned team of people that know what you're for thoroughly to where they're going.
Like mentorship or extra, like me a mentoring company or a company that mentors you?
Like a mentoring training?
I mean, maybe that is. Well, not necessarily, because we're talking about, when you talk about technology, I sometimes need to see, I don't see enough diversity. So we look at hiring, we look at programs to facilitate and get people diverse. Right. So when you talk about, you make a good point, not to the sense of kind of like team building programs, kind of like what you would do with right there with the implementation. But how do we get diverse resources? I think that's diverse. Just
and I see that, but the other piece to that is coming from K-12, right? So I was an English teacher before I came to higher education, and diverse voices starts with awareness, right? So if our children are not aware of the types of things with which they can engage, then they cannot be part of the conversation because they don't know, one, what resources are out there for them to become engaged with, and then you can even come to the table because you're not coming to the table well versed in what it is that you've been engaged with over the years to have a little
here's my
conversation.
point though. I have nieces and nephews, and I make them aware. But I think what part of what they're asking for us to do is, what are those resources? Those resources are lacking. So they can be as aware as apple pie. What's waiting for them to facilitate what they have to go through, or maybe part of what you're saying as an educator is the preparedness, getting them aware, having them prepared. Well, now we're out here. What are the resources? You know, how do we get into these organizations? To me, you're going to be talking about partnerships. To me, we're going to talk about these organizations coming into your lane, and when you were an educator. You know, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Because this part here, is about, well, what are the resources, okay? Now we got these kids who are raring to go and excited and motivated, their eyes starry-eyed. Are the resources there? Are they lacking? Is the money is there? Is it equitably distributed? Does everyone has access to these resources?
But the other piece of that is with crowdsourcing, and we see this, you're capturing information of students, right? So you can take a step and capture email addresses, IG accounts, whatever, so that those companies can be constantly involved with the children. It's the same thing that happens in the AAU world of basketball, right? So AAU teams, as early as elementary, middle, high school, are caught up in a very specific type of brand. Like my team is a Nike team. My team is a Adidas team. My team is a Under Armour team. And then what happens is those kids then get enculturated to that brand and end up picking colleges that are sponsored by that brand. So if you do that even earlier, right? So you get Apple crowdsourcing such and such app, right? So kids are growing up engaged with this app, helping solve this problem.
And they're being credited. That's right. If they're being credited with it, then they see themselves as contributing to this
Here's
problem.
a comment that I would just like to throw out there, and I'm thinking it's like a federal policy person that like used to write policy for a member. There are privacy concerns along with that, being under the age of 18. Like, how do you
There are ways
manage
to be able to write that with parental permission.
Yeah.
There's all types of ways, because they're using so much technology in the schools right now. Like the fact that I'm using my cell phone to be able to track behavior and send it to your parent and send it to other people. Like, so there's all types of ways, right?
So I agree with you, but then my other concern, is there another way for bias to sneak into that? Because like, the issue we're trying to solve here is creating diverse voices, and clearly these entities currently don't have that. There's some type of implicit bias in the system somewhere. Is there still a chance for that to happen?
I think the implicit bias specifically to this technology is because they don't have enough people to test it, right? And I can only speak this because my homegirl, Emily Hand, is working on this right now in Reno, University of Nevada, Reno. And so she and I have had these conversations, and that's all it is. Like, they can't scan the diverse skin complexions because they're testing on the people who are building it in the labs. And those people don't look like us, right?
But here's my question, is that like another example of this like AI thing is that all these people have given their DNA to these like DNA collection kits that tell you your genealogy and whatever else, and they like gave it away willingly, and they're like, yeah, show me I'm from such and such place, but now those companies own all of their DNA, all of their genetic like material, information exactly, and they're selling it to researchers. So I think, and the part about that I'm concerned about is that like the people who gave away their DNA ultimately don't have ownership over their genetic information, and they ultimately don't have ownership over their own image, and that's kind of the problem I'm worried about here. Is, are these kids just going to be like snapping pictures of their skin tone and snapping pictures of their face and whoever else, and giving them away, to Apple? Like, I don't know that that's the solution.
So, I mean, I feel like we should leave this as an idea because I feel like it's the most that we have right now, but we should try to think of like something else. Right.
The first thing I thought of when I thought of this question, I thought about re-engineering. I thought about how do we look at re-engineering this actual product, this actual delivery. When you look at medicine, we talk about this, when you look at prescriptions for blacks and that they are, for example, they will have adverse things because they weren't part of the testing. Right. It goes back to we need more people of diversity engineering and making the testing. If you go back in the 70s when they were even doing standardized testing, so when you don't have, again, the voices, then you're going to have people, you're going to have that bias in there because as she was saying too, when you're going to test off with who's in the room testing.
But then that brings the question, like, how do you get a seat at the table with them?
Right. Dr. Hand just sent her response. I sent her a screenshot and I was like, how would you solve this problem? So she says, diversity and inclusion needs to be the center of the conversation, not an afterthought as it usually is. She was like, there should be an inclusion teams built in the organizations that develop a set of guidelines prior to the product development, and these guidelines can be addressed at each stage of development process and tested during the product testing. If it isn't addressed from the onset, it will always be a bandage on the man. There you go.
So is it what, like diversity? Is it maybe like incentivizing diversity quotas in organizations?
Well, but there's also a challenge with doing that also, right? You can have a certain number of, black women, but that doesn't necessarily say that they are being quotas and actual inclusion are two very different things.
But here's the deal. With this problem, we're not really talking about inclusion overall. We're talking about for this particular problem, how to get people to engineer this that are inclusive voice. And this particular thinking about right. You know what I mean? Inclusion that's a bigger. So
I think when black and Latino engineers, like, because the problem is public schools, and I know the diversity in charters in public schools are mostly Latino and Black. So we need more engineers like in Apple and Microsoft who are developing these apps, these programs.
Because we don't want to get too big. We know we need for this particular assignment. We know we need people and CEOs and this and that. But for this app, which is looking at diversity, we need people that are diverse and creating, re-engineering this app.
So how do we get them there?
Thank you. So let's just stick with that.
How do we get them there?
Absolutely exposure, yes. I think exposure is part of it, but and I agree, I think going back to what you were saying, you can be exposed to things, but there's still several gaps in our system that's designed to make sure that even though you've been exposed to something,
you may not comprehend or relate.
You may not have the resources. Exactly, that you are still not allowed to, or you're still not able to enter into that space and participate.
Well, we also need to talk about who's building this app, because there are a lot of small tech firms that are trying to get involved and they just don't know how to break in. So how do we create strategic partnerships with schools and tech firms to build this stuff?
So I would say, we partner with organizations. I know that
familiarity at the end of the day what ties all that together. No, I agree. I think you've got a point. And I do think we can blend a lot of the areas that we talked about, the focus on adults because they're going to be the most impacted by the disruption and the shift to the global economy. And sort of but then I like how you talk about generationally as well. Familiarity is it's gonna seep in a household, and you're gonna have kids coming up who are familiar with that. Oh yeah, for sure. We've got to bring in a public-private partnership. So I guess how do we distill it to a central idea? So if we're talking to the coal mine in West Virginia, your job's going to last for 10 years, and this is our policy to sort of make sure that you're ready for the digital economy. I guess that's where we're trying to get to and build off of that. What's that central idea? From all that we've heard so far.
Okay, I have a question. So I think in doing this, and I guess I stick to answering the question first and then make a solution. Simple. To me, I'm a fan of one sentence solution and then being able to do small bullet points of how to get there, but it's got to be that one sentence. So if we're going to do this, how do we answer the question? Because I think the two things that came out strongest was micro-credentials that we talked about. I talked about the multi-generational focus, but the focus on is the adult group that's likely displaced, and that's rapidly displaced. It impacted parties in 10 years. And then I think later you added on about the funding. So I guess if I were to look at it, will we synopsize this? Will we look at kind of micro-credentials, target micro-credentials aimed at will it be adults who are likely to be displaced or rapidly displaced? To answer that question.
Yeah, I think that's it.
If it's your one-line pitch, I think that's great. And then just the way you said, what does that mean? How do we put in place and then produce it? It always comes out to the end.
So So can we refine our one-line pitch into a sentence right now? Let's work to do that, and then we can go. And I forgot your name.
Dan.
So we can work and follow, because I think your solution is yours is I'm looking at it as a solution, but I think we have to refine it until like it's I hate to say this, like a topic sentence.
Right.
So I guess we have to figure out like what exactly is the problem. Once we figure out what exactly what the problem may be, then focus in.
What do you mean as far
Like,
as?
so this is a big paragraph, but
Right.
what, like at the root of it, what is the
The disparity in digital skills between the secret force and
And I think the answer that we're getting is the micro-credentials targeted at adult learning programs and adults who are most likely impacted.
Micro-credentials targeted.
Micro-credentials targeted at
they have like diversity recruiters when they go to certain schools. They have, for example, Howard just has their Google campuses in LA that has that. So they have they take their software engineer for a semester and go and have them teach at HBCU for a semester. Some of those programs already exist, but I think especially on the college level, but how do we even before we get there? Because at that point we already know that they're behind, so they're already there, and that's why that's why all these initiatives exist, because they're trying to play catch up. So how do we take it a step back before we get there? And I think that goes more to like your point about the work, changing the policy of employment. Like if we remove that college barrier to have access to these jobs, how can someone go from high school to Google without having college be a factor in
There's no support. The technical support,
Yeah.
they have to train you
Yeah,
to
but-
do that. And sometimes they're self-taught and self-trained in order to get there. So it's the experience that's the barrier.
Yeah.
So we need to find a way to
internships.
Put that into the policy. But internship comes with college.
No,
Everybody
doesn't have to. That's where we come in.
But there are also certificate programs.
Yeah.
Like when ITT went out of business nationally, our college started a coding academy working with another PWI in Arkansas. And so we have, every 8 weeks, we have a coding academy where they learn the skills they would have gotten in ITT, and when they finish, they get a certificate. But there are only like 4 campuses out of all the campuses in Arkansas that are offering that. We're in the city. The rest of them are in more rural
Can we
parts
have
of the
that?
county.
Can we implement a coding academy in high school? And when they graduate, they come in with a certificate.
Right, because it's a certificate program.
Yeah,
And high schools also have within their own walls trade schools within high school.
I thought you looked familiar. Okay. I used to live in Birmingham. Okay.
We partnered with Apple, and we're doing it. We offer some training, some coding camps.
Okay.
Now Birmingham City School.
So incentivize them to offer more coding academies and experiences like
that's
that.
just one market. We're talking about something that will diversify all industries.
Yeah.
So we're just looking at a solution. If it's working in the coding academy and the IT industry, then what will it be effective in other industries? And they're looking for people who have the skill set, right? So what can we do to change the employment laws in order to impact diversity?
And incentivize the employers then to attend to those laws, to increase the diversity.
Fearless leader, come on with it.
I'm sorry?
I'm calling you our leader.
I'm just thinking about.
They do have inside, within the high school walls, at least in the DC area, trades school within, because they say have the Penn Center and Bell still exists, and those things. So in those areas, high school, people was taking trades within them. They didn't have to go to college. They picked up those trades and took off and got their careers that way. And so some of them are still doing it, these charter schools.
The cities and states have the technical side of the graduation requirements and then like the college prep. Something I thought would be interesting in terms of businesses being able to implement policy. If they completely threw away the old practice of we send out a job description, you send us your resumes, we get a chance, and in that is so much bias and what have you. And if they just transition to purely a skill-based thing, like you go on and you see a job, it's for whatever, and then you take the test. If you pass that test, that's it.
And so they also have
you can do the test.
They also do have what you call fellow programs. And fellow programs is an extension of trade. And what they do, well, they sort of replace trade. Sort of. So what they do is in the fellow programs, they say, we want you to do this program for 3 months. And in that 3-month period, we're teaching you A, B, C, D, F, G. And you get this certificate at the end of it. And at the end of it, they put you into a job that you got that skill set from.
Yeah, they have a lot of
And it's a lot. Yeah, and it's a lot in technology.
Back in the day.
And
35 minutes. You guys have 35 minutes.
So if we could, there's been a lot of great ideas that's thrown out. Unfortunately, we have to kind of narrow down something to present. So, does anything jump out as being super? I mean, all of them could be impactful, but something that we could just rally around.
I guess the big education they sort of teach you the larger initiative. That's what teach family. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take you through the summer this program because in the classroom teach. But also, you like it or not, it was solving that supply gap, right?
Yeah.
And so a supply gap in blacks in tech, I have to retrain people to get into tech.
Yeah.
And so you got certification programs where people can learn R and Python. There's Blue 1647 or Blue Lacuna out of Chicago. Started there, but it has coding classes in St. Louis and housing projects in New York and Haiti, teaching even ex-offenders coding programs and doing design and all that. So I mean, that's investing in that helps it out. But it's just like any other thing, right? You put money there, people will come because I get an apprenticeship, I get a job, I get paid to be there.
I got my math degree. And I went out to look for a job as a math teacher. Every school in the districts in Texas, where there were just gaps with math teachers. So how do you get non-technical people? Really, because it's like sometimes you say it's about the money, but there are like hundreds of data scientist positions open right now. And if I could find a data scientist, a black data scientist, I could hire them today. But you don't have them in the field.
So you have to put money out there to create more data scientists. So if someone said right now you can get your student loans forgiven if you taught math in this place, I would go do it because I'm a lawyer. I have a math degree too. But I'm a lawyer now, and it's like, I'm gonna do that for a couple of years just because the money's there. So there's an incentives program for that. I'm not in tech. I'm quasi in tech, but I'm not teaching tech now because it's not lucrative for me. I get paid to do more of that. But if someone flipped that and said, an incentive program for someone to maybe get out of whatever they're doing to get into tech teaching, will help. Or to get into tech field in general. It's a program.
I'll take a picture.
I mean, you're just in a weird self-selected group where you don't need that incentive to do tech because you're in it anyway.
I guess I wonder because like our companies, we offer data scientists 150 hours to start, and I still can't get people, even at 150K, to say I'm going to go learn math, I'm going to go learn statistics, and come and join this field.
But it's like, but how are you approaching the students for them to understand, that if you study this field, you're going to be making money? Because at the end of the day, people's passions are not going to disappear regardless of, the amount of money that you're giving them. So
I just saw someone. So that's me.
How these programs are being advertised. You have a lot more.
So say yes. Just got my contact.
I'm unaware about all of these programs that allow me to get loans. So I think maybe we should come from a business standpoint, and then trickle down all the way down to education and how we can branch it off with the students.
So that's how I ended up my car.
My daughter showed me that last year saying, from your side again, that's the problem. So these fields pay a lot of money, but black people are interested in it. And you're saying they should be.
I'm saying that shade level.
The question we're trying to answer is how do you incentivize them to be? You're saying it shouldn't be an incentive because they already paid $150. That's not enough incentive.
It's not enough.
You got to bridge the gap. Sometimes it's an incentive to get you motivated, but also bridging that gap to make sure I have the access and resources too.
Passions don't go away.
So it's not just I need to know I want to do this because it makes a lot of money. It's that I want to do this and I have the means and the ability to do it here.
It's like in a way, like, you know, sense, like in the black community, a lot of, like, you know, black children, when they're not aware of, like, you know, the tech firms, STEM, or education, they know about entertainment. So how are they aware about entertainment and what they're seeing on the television because it's being popularized? So this was like, you know, trying to, like, make it look in a, like, you know, in a crazy way, make it sexy, you know, make it like, okay, well, 150.
And this circle back to what we said before. We should first be using social media to target a large section of the population, and then maybe integrate free software, free means, online sources to complement the
I mean, like, we can, like, that can be like a point within the policy. But like the overall policy shouldn't be solely on, like, you know, advertising these different programs.
I think what's being left out is that sure we want to advertise and we want people to go, oh, this is cute and we want to be interested. But when you get down to it, when you learn robotics, because most of the time them hires from college, they know stuff, but then they don't actually know the stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't know calculus. So when I'm trying to design an algorithm and I want you to be in this field, you don't actually know anything.
Linear algebra, just something basic. You don't have like basic skill sets, right? So like you said before, you gotta start early, you gotta start young, you gotta get them incentivized and want to learn it. You gotta have their passion, you gotta have their purpose. You just can't just throw stuff at people, expect them to do it. Data science, you hear data science, like, what is that, right?
I think it's age problem in the community where you ask any black person, like now, and then everybody, most black people go, I hate that. I don't want to do it. And so you got to change that misconception because the STEM field is centered around that.
Yeah.
So we've seen a drop in, there were, I know Purdue used to have a bunch of these, some engineering programs from minorities. They don't have that funding available right now. We created more funding for that where I know in the summer program I have summer intensive classes where I'm on a university campus learning engineering, putting that back into the communities where it was. We stripped a lot of that away. We have high stakes testing now, so they spend most of the time in remedial stuff and not necessarily learning what they should be, right? Our high ability programs, all those things are sort of lost. I think we did a reasonable job of that in the 90s, but since then we sort of switched, the education space sort of switched and we have some other focuses now. But putting money back into the communities where our people are and having them focus on STEM education, product creation, light manufacturing, like machine learning, like these sort of things could be in middle schools, elementary schools at a very young age. We just don't have the money to do it because we stripped the funding from education.
Let me ask you something. You're ATT, right? And think about this. We talk about technology and how we're going to implement this, right? 5G is rolling out soon, right? How do we implement? Think about 5G and how that's going to affect. The main thing it's going to affect is what? That mobile, right? It's going to affect mobile in a tremendous way. It's going to transform mobile technology.
Y'all, you got 25 minutes left. You might want to start thinking about populating.
So that's what most kids are, right? The mobile phone, right? They're on their phones. 5G is going to transform that whole industry, right? We got VR and AR coming out. That's going to have a lot to do with that data, right? And one of my ideas was to have the virtual classroom, right? Have the virtual classroom with 5G rolling out, right? So everything can be remote. You don't have to be physically located in a job anymore, right? You can do it virtually, right? So the teachers actually can do virtual right from their home during the summer months. They don't have to go physically go to a job, right? So they can work the 3 months to make the $30,000 remotely from their house, right? That's what I'm saying. That was my theory, right? That was my process. I'm thinking about the 5G, right? And virtual internships, right? You know what I'm saying?
For rural medicine now?
Yeah. So I'm saying that was how I came up with the idea. So what do you think about that in terms of that perspective? Because that's technology too.
The thing is, I'm for all the solutions. I'm trying to figure out how do you incentivize people to do that? Like, and for me, it's just,
but you know what?
It's
like teach for America. You know, you get your loans forgiven once you teach 2 years in the public school.
But where's that money coming from?
I don't know who pays them, but it gets paid off. It gets paid off. It gets paid off after 2 years in public school.
So if you're gonna draft legislation to say how to incentivize programs, it's student loan forgiveness for blacks in tech, it's student loan forgiveness of teaching.